અને એની સાથે જ આજે દિવસમાં શરૂઆત રૂપિયા સાથે જ કરવી જોઈએ, કેમ કે અહીં આગળ જે રીતના $73 આસપાસ આપણે કામકાજ હવે ફાઇનલી અહીં આગળથી ટચ થતું દેખાયું, ત્યારબાદ થોડુંક રિકવર તો કરી જ રહ્યા છે, પણ ઓલ ટાઈમ લોસ ફરીથી એક વખત આજના દિવસમાં હિટ થતા પણ આપણને દેખાઈ રહ્યા છે. અત્યારે લગભગ 72.76 આસપાસ આપણને કામકાજ થતું દેખાઈ રહ્યું છે, તો થોડુંક એક પ્રેશર હજી પણ આપણા માર્કેટની અંદર છે જ આના લીધે. આપણી સાથે હવે XM.com ઓસ્ટ્રેલિયાના CEO પીટર મેગવાયર જોડાઈ ચૂક્યા છે આની ઉપર વધુ વિગતવાર વાતચીત કરવા. Hi Peter, very good morning. Let us start with the levels we are watching out for rupee right now. 73 is what we touched in morning today. What is your sense looking at nearly 12% depreciation now from itself in this calendar year? Do you sense any crisis, I mean currency crisis we are in the middle of?
Well, good morning. I think a couple of things. First off, that strong US dollar push, we've just seen that as being very evident over the last matter of months. And now we're bordering on that 73 handle for the Indian rupee. I think there's further upside there for that US dollar. So in turn, we're going to see a softer Indian rupee. I wouldn't be surprised. A couple of weeks back, I was asked, and I thought it had hit a 72 handle. I feel as though at the moment it's got to be a 73.5, maybe even 74. You've got further rate rises over the next couple of months in the US, so that's going to underpin the US dollar, and I think that's going to cause a fair bit of concern.
Agreed. Peter, one more thing which I would like to understand from your perspective is you might be tracking other currencies as well. There are experts who still believe that rupee hasn't eroded that much yet. The pace is quite slower than the other emerging market currencies. Do you concur that statement as well amidst of this depreciation which we are facing right now?
Well, that's exactly right. I think there's other currencies that have fallen far greater. You've only got to look at the Australian dollar. We're down at the lows of 2016. So, you're talking about, and when you think about emerging markets, look at the Indonesian rupiah. There are many Asian currencies that have certainly been hammered to the downside, and they're only continuing. So, in some ways, the Indian rupee has fallen, but certainly hasn't fallen to the level and the volatility and the strength to the downside that some of these other emerging markets have fallen. And I think it's just been a very interesting trade across the currency sector. Really, over the last 3 to 6 weeks, it's been spectacular.
Agreed. Actually, when we talk about dollar, for rupee, one of the factors that is impacting is the strengthening of dollar. Further, now we are also expecting a rate hike in American markets as well as a rate hike which is scheduled in India as well. From here forward, trade deficit, current account deficit, all are our investors' concern as well. Crude is also appreciating to quite a 79 levels right now. All these things are creating a dampening effect towards rupee right now. What are you sensing? 74 levels, as you rightly mentioned, but still further a bit more concerns for the investors?
Well, yes. I mean, when you're thinking about the buying power as far as the rupee and what you've experienced in crude oil, Brent now at 79, nearly $80 a barrel, and I feel as though that you've only got to get a couple of issues that take hold over the next month or so, and I wouldn't be surprised to see an 82, 83 for Brent. One being weather outages from hurricanes. Secondly, the uncertainty as far as Middle East, Iran and so on, and all of these factors at play in Libya's situation at the moment. So there's enough out there to really, I think, push crude a little bit higher. Also a stronger US dollar, which is going to impact the man on the street in India from their buying power. So, yes, it's going to be a tough couple of months ahead.
Agreed. A couple of months more that are going to be tough for Indian markets as well. Lastly, I would like to understand RBI's measures. I mean, intervention of RBI is likely right now when we are looking at 73 levels for rupee. What is your sense? What measures should be taken by RBI so that these levels are stabilized here right now and we don't see a further depreciation in rupee levels?
Well, it's a very hard matter of fact as far as trying to contain a currency that's through government intervention or federal, the RBI intervention. And the reasoning is because you've got that massive US dollar strength, you've got rate rises, and you've got a booming US economy. So there are a lot of performance factors from the US side that you just can't manage. Quite simply, rate rises, strong, booming US economy, nearly record lows as far as employment, and what we've experienced since 2014, 2015 has been a very, very solid move with equity markets as well and residential real estate. So I think it's just a bit of a tighten your belts at the moment, India and all those emerging markets, because the US dollar is just on a one-way trip, and it's very much a bull market over the last couple of months, and I think that will continue over another month or two.
Agreed. Peter, one more thing, because since last few quarters we have been tracking US data as well, which we'll look forward to. When we talk about US GDP, it has been growing on a faster pace right now after 2014. And employment data, which we saw in past days, has also been quite improving now. Trade tensions have also been a worrisome reason, but looking forward, do you see more strength in dollar from here forth?
I think so. I feel as though that the US dollar, it's very hard to stand in the road of it. It's gaining momentum, and there are so many other factors that are strong supporting arguments to its economic growth. And when you put those all together, and the way that, from a risk perspective, many central bankers are understanding what's happening as far as, euro, where emerging markets are, what's happening with trade talks as far as what President Trump's prepared to do with China and so on. So all of these factors are coming to play, and that's one of the reasons why you're seeing that stronger US dollar. Also, the interest rate rises. So all this wrapped up together is going to be a one-way trip for the US dollar, and I feel as though that traders are very conscious of that. They've supported it with this strong, purchasing, and it's been a very, very solid profitability if you've been long US dollar over the last 4 to 6 weeks, even 8 weeks. It's been a fantastic trade, and that's been demonstrated again, as I mentioned, with the Indian rupee and of course the Aussie dollar.
Okay, agreed. Thanks, Peter, for joining us and letting us know the whole perspective of all the other currencies as well, and for the rupee depreciation that we are facing right now. Thank you. તો જે રીતના જોઈ રહ્યા છે અગર રૂપિયાની અંદર ઓલરેડી ડેપ્રિસિએશન આપણને વધતું દેખાઈ જ રહ્યું છે, અને સાથે જ હજી પણ આપણને 73ના લેવલ્સની આસપાસથી થોડુંક પાછા ફર્યા છે. આપણે લગભગ 20 પૈસાનો સુધારો અહીંયા આગળથી આવતો દેખાઈ રહ્યો છે. તેની ઉપર દિવસ દરમિયાન બી ધ્યાન રાખતા રહીશું. હવે આપણી સાથે પેરાડાઇમ કોમોડિટીઝના બિરેન વકીલ પણ જોડાઈ ચૂક્યા છે. બિરેનજી, સ્વાગત છે તમારું શો ઉપર. સૌથી પહેલા તો શરૂઆત રૂપિયાથી જ કરીએ. 73ની આસપાસના લેવલ્સથી આપણે આજે પાછા ફર્યા છીએ, અને નિયરલી એક 20 પૈસાનો કરેક્શન અહીંયા આગળથી ફરી આવતું દેખાઈ રહ્યું છે. થોડુંક સ્ટેબિલાઇઝ થયો છે રૂપિયો, પણ અહીંયા આગળથી આગળ તમે શું જુઓ છો?
અત્યાર સુધી આરબીઆઈનું જે ઇન્ટરવેન્શન છે એ મર્યાદિત સીમિત છે, એટલે અસરકારક રહ્યું નથી. શરૂઆતમાં જ્યારે ઇન્ટરવેન્શન આવે ત્યારે રૂપિયો થોડો કમજોર થઈ જાય છે, અને ફરી પાછો થોડો સુધરી અને ફરી પાછો કમજોર થઈ જાય છે.